Star Trek's next two shows need to bring back this real-world connection TNG had. For decades, Star Trek, The Next Generation didn't just tell stories about warp drives, photon torpedoes, or alien invasions. What made TNG resonate, what made it matter, was its uncanny ability to reflect the world we lived in, sometimes before we even realized the reflection was there. From Picard's moral dilemmas to Data's quest to understand humanity, TNG anchored the fantastical in the very real. And yet, as Star Trek's universe expands with new shows on Paramount Plus and other platforms, there's a noticeable shift. The galaxy is dazzling, the visuals are stunning, but the pulse of the real world, the connection that made TNG timeless, feels muted. The brilliance of TNG was how it mirrored the social and political questions of the 1980s and 90s while projecting them into a hopeful, futuristic lens. Episodes like The Measure of a Man explored autonomy and consent through the lens of an android. The Drumhead dissected paranoia and witch hunts, a clear echo of McCarthy-era fears and contemporary concerns about overreach in law enforcement and government. And then there's Dharmic, a poetic meditation on communication and misunderstanding, which still resonates in a world increasingly divided by language, culture, and ideology. TNG wasn't preaching. It was holding a mirror up to our world while daring to imagine a better one. Fast forward to today, and Star Trek is in a renaissance of sorts. Strange New Worlds and Star Trek Discovery have brought back iconic faces, introduced radical new characters, and pushed the franchise into bold, uncharted territory. But in their quest for spectacle and narrative innovation, these shows sometimes lose the subtlety of TNG's real-world reflections. Conflicts tend to be cosmic, stakes often interstellar, and ethical dilemmas frequently resolved by Deus ex machina technology rather than moral reasoning. The narrative tension feels removed from the moral and social questions that once gave Star Trek its enduring relevance. This is where the next two shows in the Star Trek canon have an opportunity and a responsibility. The real-world connection TNG exemplified wasn't just window dressing. It was the heart of the storytelling. Future installments can reclaim that power by exploring issues like climate change through planetary diplomacy, surveillance ethics through Starfleet intelligence missions, or social justice through interactions with newly contacted civilizations. The key is not allegory for its own sake, but thoughtful integration. A story in which characters face ethical dilemmas and decisions that echo our world, without ever feeling like a lecture. Consider how TNG handled identity politics through characters like Worf and Troy. Worf's Klingon heritage forced him to negotiate cultural loyalty, honor, and assimilation, something that resonates in our increasingly globalized society. Troy's empathic abilities allowed the show to probe questions of consent, privacy, and emotional labor in ways that prefigured contemporary conversations about mental health and interpersonal boundaries. The next Star Trek shows should take a page from this approach. Character struggles should feel immediately relevant, echoing issues viewers are wrestling with today, from AI ethics to economic inequality to the consequences of unchecked technology. Moreover, TNG thrived because it trusted its audience. It didn't simplify complex debates or shy away from uncomfortable conclusions. A future show that wishes to recapture this magic should resist the temptation to over-explain or sanitize. Audiences today are savvy, capable of understanding nuance, and hungry for content that challenges them while still delivering the wonder of Star Trek. The next two shows could push the envelope by presenting morally gray scenarios that force viewers to confront their own beliefs, much as TNG did in its golden era. There's also a subtle yet essential aspect of TNG's real-world resonance: optimism. Even when the episodes tackle depression, fear, or prejudice, the underlying message was hopeful. Humanity could rise above its flaws. Modern Star Trek runs the risk of becoming dark for darkness's sake, emphasizing dystopia over progress. Reintroducing that hopeful lens, coupled with grounded, real-world dilemmas, would not only honor the legacy of TNG, but also make the franchise's future feel vital, relevant, and necessary. Finally, the real-world connection TNG had extended beyond its narrative. It shaped the culture. Debates about morality, justice, and technology spilled out of living rooms and into classrooms, forums, and discussions around dinner tables. Star Trek didn't just entertain, it inspired. By recapturing that connection, future shows have the opportunity to influence thought and conversation in our own world. Imagine a Star Trek episode dissecting climate migration through a planetary crisis or exploring privacy rights via interstellar surveillance. Such storytelling doesn't merely entertain. It provokes reflection, debate, and empathy. In the end, TNG's genius was never about starships or battles, it was about us. Its next successors have the potential to do the same, but only if they remember that Star Trek shines brightest when it holds